Hey, another week, boys and girls, and another video. Welcome back to the Outlaw Lotus channel. And I know I'm kind of a day late and dollar short here, but we'll save some COVID talk for another day, shall we? This video actually comes at the request of a good friend, BrotherHowl, who has some material for me to cover today. And I want to kick this off with some amusing news about, for those who haven't heard yet, Google Stadia actually went free this weekend.
Nobody cares. Listen, Major, nobody cares. You know why nobody cares who you are? Because nobody cares about your feeble accomplishments.
See, nobody cares. Nice hat.
Yeah, nobody cares because Stadia had its chance, you know what I mean? It wasn't ready for prime time. Google Stadia, it went free. That's great. And the Stadia Pro, which is allegedly the 4K 5.1 surround sound version of it, you can get that for 2 months for free. They had all kinds of reasons. They used COVID as kind of their excuse, like, oh man, we're all together now. Video games are a great way to kind of cope with being locked up. Blah 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 blah. Well, you know what? Think maybe some goodwill. You are Google after all. Some goodwill could have gone a long way when it launched with so many problems and it had a terrible model to begin with. But hey, I mean, if y'all don't have a gaming system right now and you want some somewhat PC quality gaming, okay, I guess you can try out Stadia. You do get it for free for 2 months, and then it's only like something like $10 a month for Pro. So I mean, I guess there are worse ways to spend your money, right? But yeah, I don't think anybody really cares that Stadia is free right now, because it seems like that thing just kind of went over everyone's head, and nobody seems to really give a shit because, well, Final Fantasy VII Remake is going on, and that pretty much owns my soul at the moment. So this video today is to cover a couple things. Primarily going to be talking about a crowdfunding game called Chronicles of Elyria, I think is how you pronounce that, and that was requested by BrotherHowl. So for those who aren't familiar with it, it's kind of a medieval setting, somewhat fantasy setting with some tribes. It's open world sandbox, kind of like if you were to throw the Star Citizen project into medieval times with your own kingdoms and stuff to build. You know, already, if you're talking about medieval setting Star Citizen, you got to think about this a little bit. When this thing started in 2016, it had an initial backing stretch goal of about $900,000. Okay. And this guy, Jeremy Walsh, it's a Jeremy with a Jerome, so Jeromy, Jerome Walsh. Normally I don't use people's real names, but this really isn't some kind of private secret anymore. This guy's name's out there, so I know it's a doxing-free channel, but again, this is the guy's real name. You know, he's in charge of Soulbound Studios, blah, 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 blah. He initially put out that there was going to be a $900,000 initial stretch goal. We all know MMORPGs are expensive. It's very misleading. And I get it. What he showed off then had a lot of promise. It's like, well, we got some parkour platforming and, you know, some jousting mini games and all kinds of cool little nifty shit going on here. This might actually be really, really promising. You know, you build your own kingdom, build your own villages, kind of set your own adventure kind of medieval setting, and that's popular. That had a lot of hype behind it. Same for the same reason that Star Citizen has a lot of hype behind it. But the story I'm about to get into next is exactly why I urge so much caution when it comes to crowdfunded games. So originally this thing was supposed to come out with the $900,000 stretch goal with a 2-year promise. Does that sound familiar? It should, because you gotta think, a decade ago when Chris Roberts was touting Star Citizen and it wasn't going to take that long to come out and it wasn't going to require such a big stretch goal, the big fiasco that Star Citizen is kind of a topic for another video, but that's what I'm saying, is like, you have to be careful with how much you overpromise your product. You literally, the best example of something that needs to be crowdfunded is Elite Dangerous. David Braben set a very realistic stretch goal, a realistic development goal, and had a very firm target. And not only does he have a released game that plays in the vein of Elite games that came before it, he has a game that's expanded upon greatly what it was originally promised to be when it was being backed. So that's what you need to do. You need to keep it realistic. You need to temper your expectations and keep things in such a way that you don't promise what you can't deliver on. So let's fast forward to 4 years. I don't want to go over the troubled history of this game because I only have cursory knowledge of this game, but it made me research this game overnight because of obviously BrotherHowl's request, and it just blows my mind that in 4 years, which this next figure is going to be pretty good considering what Star Citizen accomplished and how much hype Chris Roberts has behind him because of Wing Commander. In 4 years, this guy managed to raise just shy of $8 million with 250,000 roughly backers. So a little more than $250,000, and 8 million. Someone's got a lot of money for one thing, because 250,000 people raising $8 million, that's someone's laying down some dough on this game. I get it. And to make a massive, successful MMO in this decade now, where we're going forward the way things are now, it's going to take a lot more than 8 million. We all know MMOs are expensive. Look at SOTOR. Look how much SOTOR cost to develop back when it was released in 2011. And that had a gazillion voiceovers, and it was a theme park based game. It's not as sandbox or open world as Elyria promised to be, and that's some things we had to take into consideration as well. How much voiceover time was it going to have? Now, granted, it had a lot of mocapping going on. There was tons of mocapping going on for this game, and again, with the platforming and the whole parkour mechanic and stuff going on, jumping on rooftops, that was pretty freaking neat, right? That was something that people were really, really hyped about, is the fact that it had a choose-your-own-adventure, but literally you're not confined to your feet on the ground in the streets of a village that you're walking through. It's a go anywhere, do anything kind of experience, which really we only have Elite Dangerous and EVE Online for that for the most part right now. And yes, I think somebody really wanted to see something like this pan out in the medieval scope, and it does kind of break my heart that after all this time, you really have to feel sorry for the people that put in a lot of time and money to back this game for what happened next. They decided that a month ago, they decided they were going to sell land plots. Star Citizen style. Remember recently, I think it was like a year ago, last summer, Star Citizen decided to start selling plots of land on moons and planets and stuff for stuff that hadn't even been released yet. It's not like, is that familiar? They did the same thing, and these lots would range for anywhere between $65 to $1,350. All right, that was a month ago. Now, at the end of that month, I think it was like the 20th of March, they came out with that really lame parkour tech demo that looked absolutely nothing like the game that was promised. Okay, the game's teasing touted this gorgeous world. Even the website that's still up touts this gorgeous world that in no way reflects the pre-alpha tech demo that they had released on the 20th of March. It was embarrassing. It looked like something somebody had thrown together in Unity in just a couple hours. It was a straight embarrassment. And I don't know why they thought that was ever going to fly with the community, considering they had 4 years of teasing this gorgeous engine. So, I'm going to read the following letter to you all. And I want you to listen to the words as I read them from the producer, the CEO and founder. And you tell me if it's this lame-ass tech demo that they released a couple weeks ago, or COVID-19 that they did the following. And it reads, on March 24th, I posted a State of Elyria update for our game, Chronicles of Elyria, to our blog in that post. I informed our community that due to the underperformance of our recent Settlers of Elyria event and the economic impact of the global COVID-19 pandemic, I had made the hard decision to lay off staff and suspend development. However, it was my aim to leave the blog post with a message of hope that we could find a way to secure additional funding, honor your pledge package, rewards, and deliver the game that we promised. In retrospect, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to read the rest of this guy's freaking sob story, because we all know game development is a challenging endeavor. We do understand that things are expensive and it takes a lot of work, but at this point he had weeks under this COVID-19 quarantine that was going on to get people together and bring people into his world and really get some feedback and really churn forward with this game. You know, I work on a volunteer project where we are able to work from home. I don't buy it. I don't buy the bullshit excuse that you can't develop a game from home. If you have the materials, if you have the assets in your own home, you can work on content, you can work on assets. You can code, you can develop stuff. If you have your Unity engine, or if you have your 3ds Max, Maya, whatever you're using, your ZBrush, your Blender, whatever you're using to help develop this product, you can do it from the comfort of your own home. How do I know this? Because I do it as a volunteer. I get that trade secrets are a thing. I get that the security of your product is a concern. But people aren't going out. Okay? And guess what? In this cyber age, it's going to be obvious, because things leave a bread trail, that stuff is moving around. If you're working on something and you're secretly talking behind your company's back, hey, this is what we're working on. We all know leaks happen. Leaks are nothing new. Leaks were nothing new before COVID-19. Leaks are going to happen with or without COVID-19. That's what the internet's doing. The difference is, without the security and firewalls of your company to protect that work, you're going to be leaving a trail of crumbs. That is the job of your IT security. That's the job of your cybersecurity, to be able to ensure the security of your company's work. And if you can't do that, you have to find out a way to do that. You have to let your company employees sign an NDA, and you have to keep that reminder out. You got to put that pressure on your employees. If you violate the NDA, you'll be terminated. I'm going in a rabbit hole here, because I'm pretty sure that's not the only reason why this game failed. I'm pretty sure this guy took a lot of money and spent it very, very irresponsibly, because there's no fucking way that in 4 years, after $8 million, that what they got was this very shittily designed parkour simulator. And he laid off his entire team, in a crisis. In the middle of this crisis, where I bet you a lot of these companies aren't even going to be hiring, he laid people off. Not okay with that. And, I'm sure a lot of his backers and fans aren't okay with it either. And it just goes to show the problems that I have with crowdfunded games. You have to keep a very targeted idea of what you're going for. You have to say, this is my stretch goal, this is what I'm promising on that stretch goal. You literally have to be realistic. You have to focus on one thing, then release it. Then build upon that once you have your community together playing that can provide that feedback, because now they know, I promised this in this live environment. It's playing in this live environment. It could use some polish here and maybe a little improvement here, so that team responsible for building that section of your game can work on that, while your next chunk, your new team building on future content, can focus on building future content, rather than having to scramble and fix the mess of this giant game you built with all this feature creep you have in it. You see what I'm saying? That's what Elite Dangerous did correctly. They focused on, we're going to make the Elite experience, the very basic Elite experience of just flying out in space, trading and shooting shit. Little mining, little hauling, that's it. Nothing major. They added the fighters, they added the ground exploration in your little rover, they added the deep scanning and all these other bells and whistles features. Now they got the fleet carriers. They added all this stuff later, so that everyone's experience continues to expand as the years go on. And it's not something that they're counting on and hyped up about for a decade or more, waiting for this damn thing to come out. this is the problem that's coming into Star Citizen. It's all this feature creep. You know, they should have just released a damn game for us to have fun with, instead of just, okay, well, it's going to take a little bit longer because we're going to develop this new thing. We're going to develop that new thing. We have all this and that and the other. And there's so many things. There's so much complexity to this game that's now choking the desire to even want to try it, because it's like, man, what if I don't like this aspect of the game? Or, man, what if this aspect of the game gets in the way of my enjoyment of the one thing I'm downloading this game to play? You know, there's so many... When you overwork the plumbing, it's a lot easier to stop up the drain, just like Scotty says in Star Trek 3, right? You know what I mean? You have to keep your goals simple. That's just all there is to it. And I apologize if this video came off like a little bit of a mini rant, but when BrotherHowl brought this information to me, I felt so sad and at the same time angry for the people that backed this game, because you deserved a really, really good game. Star Citizen, when it initially went into Kickstarter, before it even had its own website, and CIG was founded and doing its own big thing, I was really excited. I was like, you know what, Chris Roberts might actually make, you know, he might bring the freelancer and wing commander experience into one deal and make one hell of a great game to rival Elite Dangerous when it comes out. And then Elite Dangerous came out. It's been out for years. I still enjoy it. It's fun. It's just a great way for me to waste some time and get immersed into a space flight experience. And I'm still waiting on Star Citizen, to the point where I don't even care anymore. I have not spent any more money on the game, and I don't plan to. So that's... I think if I'd known more about this game before all this happened, I probably would have backed a little bit and then maybe engaged the community more and kind of reminded people where this is going, because you can look at subreddits, you can look at forums, you can look at a lot of posts, you can look at the trail of tweets and things that are now deleted that people have actually saved and kept on Reddit about what this game could have been that it's unfortunately never going to be, because Soulbound Studios CEO Jeremy Walsh decided to go and quit and lay off his whole company in the middle of a freaking economic crisis. So there it is. I'm fucking over it. That's my thoughts on it. I think it's disgusting, and I feel like there's a lot of stuff that we're not being told. It's very dishonest, and it pisses me off. The end. So I would have left some time for some more stuff in my video, but I'll do this soon. I want to do a kind of a midterm report on Destiny 2's Season of the Worthy content that's out right now, because there's a lot to cover. There's a lot of stuff that I've been doing with Destiny 2. It's a lot of fun. I'm going to have a Final Fantasy 7 remake review coming up, a Doom Eternal review coming up, and since I'm on nights now at my job, there will be no streaming, but I'm going to try to make some more YouTube videos for you all to enjoy. And as always, of course, every little bit helps on Patreon. I'm trying to upgrade some of my gear this year. That's kind of a big push for me, so every little bit goes a long way. I want to be able to, when I go back to days and start streaming again, I want to be able to improve my content, and I can do that with y'all's help. So appreciate it as always. Keep tuning in. I'll have plenty of content for you to come out. And of course, you can reach out to me on Twitter. You can reach out to me on Facebook. You can reach out to me on YouTube. You can reach out to me even on my Patreon channel. You can do whatever you want to do to let me know what you want to see and how I can improve my work. So with that, love you guys and gals. You are the best. Keep quick drawing and slack drawing. Outlaw Lotus, signing out.